handout I gave you, and the right utensil. These are guided notes. I'm going to guide you through them, guys. I'm going to guide you through. Follow along with me. If you have a question, please raise your hands. You got to be mature with this conversation. That's why I got a little upset with you guys not having a question, because I know everybody thinks and talks and perpetrates sex. Everybody cares about sex. So I don't want you guys to sit and pretend to me like you didn't care. And that's what you were doing. You were trying to be like a rebel of some sort. It's time to be mature, young people. The seniors and the sophomores have already got a message from their teachers. If you can't handle this conversation, go sit with the freshmen. Freshmen, take it personal. Be mature enough to handle the conversation. Because I'm going to be 100% authentic with you guys, but I want to make sure this is as constructive as possible. So, the notes will guide you guys, and I have the subheadings and whatnot up top. We're going to start with healthy versus unhealthy relationships, guys. As I'm talking, pay attention to the questions and make sure you're getting the answers down. Remember, you're going to turn this in to me at the end of class for credit. As long as you get the answers, you're fine. And I'm going to guide you guys through it. So check out question number 1. All healthy relationships consist of what? And before we even answer, I'm sorry, I'm going to get you, give me just a second. Before we even get into a sexual relationship, we need to make sure that you guys have an expectation of a relationship. You guys should all have a standard set for yourself. Things that you are willing to accept and things that you are not willing to accept. You're non-negotiable, so to speak. So before we even get into sexual relationships and intimate relationships, I want you guys to think about your relationships in general, with your friends, with your parents, with your relatives, distant relatives, with your peers, with your teachers, with your coaches. Do you have non-negotiables? Have you ever even thought about this? There are some things you should not accept, of course. There are some things that lead to abuse, of course. And there are some things that are just generally unhealthy for the human psyche. Now, as it pertains to any relationship, can anyone raise their hand and tell me what they think I'm saying the most essential things are for a healthy relationship? Communication, make sure you get that down, folks. Doesn't matter the type of relationship it is, communication is key. Yes, ma'am. Trust, those are that. And one more. Respect, good. Communication, trust, and respect, guys. Whether it's teacher to student, that relationship should have some communication, some trust, and some respect. Whether it's a significant other, also you should expect those things. A relative, doesn't matter, guys. Set the bar high for your social life. Because sometimes these abuses that we're going to talk about next, they become normalized because you accept it. You've been accepting them your whole life. So let's move on to question number 2. Conflicts. Speaking of abuse, conflicts are not necessarily bad as long as they're properly dealt with. When do relationships become unhealthy in that sense? So good, true, but arguments aren't necessarily a detriment to a relationship. It's actually part of the relationship because you're going to have disagreements. I just yelled at the whole freshman class 3 minutes ago. It doesn't even mean I'm mad at them. It means I want them to get their stuff together. We're having a conversation, and I need them to be mature enough to write a question down on a sheet of paper. That's all. I'm not mad at them, but that's my relationship with my students. But they also should know that if you need to talk after school, that's fine, we can talk about that or about anything, because I'm always here for my students regardless. And the other class, I know that the freshmen are going to learn that. But you can't just take a conflict or a disagreement as a failed relationship. So sometimes mom and dad argue. Doesn't mean they hate each other necessarily, but sometimes there's disagreement. As long as there's a healthy and a natural way to progress with that relationship and find resolution, you'll be fine. But the things I'm looking for as far as abuse goes is these words: sexual abuse in a relationship is a beyond red flag. It's time to go. It's beyond red flag. Sexual abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse. These are things that no human being on the planet Earth should be enduring or accepting. Nobody should accept those things. An example of emotional abuse: you're fat, you're ugly, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're never going to be anything. That could be even happening from not necessarily an intimate partner, but even sometimes from in the crazy world we live in. Sometimes parents talk to their offspring like that. And that's an example I had from my seniors last year. I had a young lady who revealed to me that her own mother was her worst enemy in that regard. And I want to go to college, Mr. Newsome, I want to do this and that. But my mom always says, why do you try so hard? You're too stupid to go to college. And you know that you've always been this, you've always been that, and you're never going to be that over there. And that was something that was damaging this kid. And this kid was dealing with this.